Today morning, Sundar Pichai walks on stage. At Google I/O, thousands of developers in the audience, millions watching online, he announces Gemini 4.0, the most powerful AI Google has ever built. The crowd goes wild. But here's what nobody in that audience knows. What nobody watching at home knows. What Pichai himself won't say out loud. The US government already saw that model. Weeks ago, in a secure facility, behind closed doors, before you, before developers, before anyone. And they didn't just look at it. They evaluated it. They wrote a report on it. And then, only then, did Google get to show it to you. I found this story buried in government press releases and CNBC reports that nobody connected. When I did, I had to read it 3 times. Because what it means for you is something no AI company wants to say out loud. You are not using raw AI. You never were. You're using government-approved AI. And the question nobody is asking is what exactly they changed before you got it. Let me take you back 2 weeks. May 5th, 2026, a Tuesday. The US Department of Commerce quietly put out a press release. Not the front page of any newspaper, not trending on X, just a press release. It said that 3 companies, Google, DeepMind, Microsoft, and Elon Musk's XAI, had signed agreements with a government agency called CAISI. CAISI stands for the Center for AI Standards and Innovation. It sits inside the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which sits inside the US Department of Commerce, which answers directly to the president. The agreement was simple. Before these companies release any major AI model to the public, the government gets to see it first, evaluate it, test it, and, crucially, provide feedback. Now here's the part the press release didn't say loudly enough. OpenAI and Anthropic had already signed the same deal back in 2024, which means right now, every single major AI company on Earth has agreed to show their models to the US government before you see them. 5 companies, 5 agreements: OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, Microsoft, XAI. Every AI you use today went through this process first. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, that's just safety testing. They're checking if the AI is dangerous. That's fine. And you might be right. But stay with me, because here's where the story gets complicated. CAISI has already completed more than 40 of these evaluations. 40. And not one of those reports is public. Not one. The terms of the agreements haven't been disclosed. The specific scope, what they test, what they look for, is not published. The feedback they give the companies, you'll never read it. And here's the detail that I keep coming back to. The agency specifically said their evaluations cover, quote, national security capabilities and risks. National security. That's a specific phrase. It doesn't mean, is this AI going to write bad poetry? It means they are asking a very different question. They are asking, what can this AI do that could be used as a weapon? What can it find? What can it break? What can it know? And once they have that answer, what happens next? Here's the clearest example of what I mean. Anthropic built a model called Mythos. We covered this before. Mythos found 47,000 security vulnerabilities across every major operating system. It was so powerful, Anthropic refused to release it publicly. The government found out about it. Dario Amodei, Anthropic's CEO, was called to the White House. Not to a press conference, to the White House, for a private meeting with senior members of the Trump administration. And here's the twist. Just weeks before that meeting, the Pentagon had labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk, a threat to US national security. They told civilian agencies to stop using Anthropic's products. Then, a few days later, multiple US intelligence agencies started using Mythos themselves to find vulnerabilities. The same model, the same company, first a threat, then a tool. Same week. That's not a contradiction. That's a strategy. The government doesn't want AI companies to be fully independent. They want to be inside the room where the models are built. And now, officially, legally, by signed agreement, they are. Now, let's talk about tomorrow. Google I/O, May 19th, 2026, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Sundar Pichai takes the stage. Gemini 4.0. The AI that runs on 3 billion Android phones. The AI embedded in Gmail, in Search, in Google Docs. The AI that Android 17 is built around. That model in before Pichai announces it tomorrow was already evaluated by the US government behind closed doors. You'll hear tomorrow that Gemini 4.0 is smarter, faster, more capable. What you won't hear is what the government said about it, what they flagged, what they asked Google to address, what changed between the model they evaluated and the model you download tomorrow. I'm not saying the government made Gemini worse. I genuinely don't know. Nobody outside of those meetings does. But I am saying this, the version being announced tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific is not the raw, unfiltered version Google built. It is the version the US government signed off on. And it gets deeper than that. Think about what it means that all 5 of these companies signed these agreements. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, xAI, that's ChatGPT, that's Claude, that's Gemini, that's Copilot, that's Grok, every AI assistant you've ever used, every AI writing tool, every AI coding tool, every AI search, all of them government reviewed first. One analyst at CIO Dive said it straight. He said choosing an AI vendor that hasn't secured favored status from the Department of Commerce is, and I'm quoting, a massive contagion risk for any company with federal contracts. Read that again. Choosing an AI that the government hasn't approved is now a risk, which means the government has effectively become the gatekeeper, not just for the AI that government agencies use, for the AI that everyone uses. Because the companies that want to sell to enterprises, hospitals, banks, law firms, need to be on the government's approved list, which means the AI you use at work was selected partly because the government said it was acceptable. Now, I want to be honest with you for a second, because I know how this sounds. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. It's not. The press releases are real. Bloomberg verified it. CNBC verified it. The Hill verified it. The agreements are signed. Legal. Public record. And honestly, I understand the argument for why this exists. These models are genuinely powerful. We've covered Mythos. We've covered the 2FA hack. We've covered what AI can do to infrastructure. If a model can find 47,000 vulnerabilities before breakfast, maybe someone should check it before it goes to 3 billion people. I get it. But here's the uncomfortable question. When the government evaluates an AI model for national security risks, whose national security are they protecting? The answer should be yours. But is it? The White House is also reportedly preparing an executive order, one that would make this mandatory, not voluntary agreements, a legal requirement. Every new AI model, by law, reviewed by the government before release. If that order is signed, and it could happen any day now, then what you saw with Anthropic and OpenAI and Google becomes the law. No exceptions. No alternative. You want to release a major AI model in the United States? The government sees it first. Full stop. Here's the thing about tomorrow's Google I/O. Whatever Sundar Pichai announces on that stage will be impressive. Gemini 4.0 will be genuinely powerful, smart, fast, capable of things that still feel like science fiction. And most of the coverage will focus on the features, the benchmarks, the demos, the hardware. Nobody will ask the question I'm asking you to think about. Who saw this model first? What did they say about it? What changed? Those questions don't have public answers. And that's precisely the point. Here's what I want you to take from this video. 3 things. Number 1. The AI race is not just between companies. It's between governments. The US government signing these agreements isn't just about safety. It's about making sure that the world's most powerful AI is developed under American oversight. China has its own AI programs. The US government wants to make sure it understands what frontier AI can do before anyone else does. Number 2. This is not going away. It's getting bigger. The executive order under consideration would expand this dramatically. By the end of 2026, government pre-deployment review of AI could be as standard as FDA drug approval. You don't get a new drug without the FDA. Soon, you might not get a new AI without CAISI. Number 3. This doesn't make AI evil. It makes AI political. And political things, historically, don't stay neutral forever. The internet started as government infrastructure. It became the world's most powerful communications tool. Then it became the world's most powerful advertising machine. The question with AI is what it becomes after the government finishes shaping it. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, watch the Google I/O keynote. Watch what Sundar Pichai announces. Listen to the features they describe. And just in the back of your mind, remember this video. Remember that someone already sat in a room with that model, wrote a report you'll never read, and decided what version of it you're allowed to have. Subscribe to Synth, because this story is 6 months from becoming the most important tech policy story of the decade. And you just heard it before anyone else did.